Traffic flows along the new Yau Ma Tei section of the Central Kowloon Bypass is smooth on the first working day since its opening. The police arrest 15 people in connection with the 1 billion yen robbery in Sheung Wan, with stolen money's whereabouts still unknown. And the Taipei knife attack suspect is said to have planned the rampage since last year and used different ways to avoid detection. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Jeremy Zhu. The Yau Ma Tei section of the Central Kowloon Bypass successfully navigated its first full working day, with over 50,000 cars using the new link since it opened yesterday. While some drivers are confused with multiple exits leading to improper lane changes, officials pledge to provide clearer road markings. Evelyn Bai reports.
On the eastern side of New Route, which connects motorists to Kai Tak, road circulation remained fluid without congestion, with most cars heading towards Kowloon Bay and the Kwun Tong Bypass. Since many drivers cut off the double white lines before the exit on Sunday, the Highways Department has placed traffic cones at the diverging chevron markings. However, unsafe lane changes are still occurring, with many vehicles changing lanes at the last moment. A heavy lorry, realizing it was in the wrong lane, braked before the junction and then cut back to the left. Director of Highways Tony Yao said, in addition to traffic signs, they will add 2 sets of road markings on Tuesday morning to remind drivers to choose the appropriate lane. New bus lanes have also been painted on Kai Fuk Road. A truck tried to cut in to enter the bypass and was stopped by officers. 8 bus routes that operate during peak hours have from today been diverted via the new bypass. People working in Kwun Tong and Kowloon Bay will save much less commuting time. This woman said her bus journey to the office is now 10 to 15 minutes faster, giving her time for breakfast. Secretary for Transport and Logistics Mabel Chen said the diversion effect is efficient, as the traffic this morning was generally smooth and in line with expectations, adding that with many schools starting their year-end holidays, the authorities will continue to closely monitor actual traffic conditions. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
On its inaugural weekday, the newly opened Yau Ma Tei section of the Central Kowloon Bypass shaved just 4 minutes off a cross-town commute during the morning rush on Monday, a test by our team has found. Quentin Yang has the story.
Our iCable News reporters drove both the new Central Kowloon Bypass route and the traditional West Kowloon corridor path from Mayfu to Kowloon Bay's Enterprise Square, comparing trips this morning and last week to pinpoint where time was gained or lost. Departing Mayfu at 8 a.m. today, our car was smoothly traveling on Lincheng Road by 8:06. Around the same time last week, our vehicle on the old route was already stuck in a jam on the Gascoigne Road flyover. By 8:09 this morning, we entered the new bypass near Olympic Station, emerging near Kai Tak just 4 minutes later, after cruising through the 3.9-kilometer triple-lane tunnel. Last week, however, the driver on the conventional route had only just cleared the congestion on Gascoigne Road at that same moment. Carrying on with our journey this morning, we found that time saved in the tunnel was partially lost at the end. The exit onto Kai Chung Road led to several traffic light stops, slowing the final approach to the destination. Finally, we reached the destination at 8:22 this morning versus 8:26 last week. While the saving was modest, the new road delivered drivers into the heart of the Kowloon Bay Business District a full 10 minutes quicker. Drivers should also note that some digital maps have not yet been updated with the new road. Even on its second day of operation, navigation apps were still directing users onto older, slower routes. Quentin Ya, Cable News.
police have arrested 15 local persons in connection with the 1 billion Japanese yen robbery in Sheung Wan last Thursday. 7 of them have been charged with conspiracy to commit robbery, and authorities are tracing the stolen money. Exhibits seized include a 20-centimeter-long knife, a batch of face masks, and clothing believed to have been worn by the suspects during the crime. Last Thursday, 2 employees of a Japanese company dealing in virtual currency and luxury goods were carrying 4 suitcases containing cash worth about 1 billion yen, equivalent to around 50 million Hong Kong dollars, on Winglok Street in Sheung Wan. They were on their way to a money exchange shop when 3 assailants, arriving in a private car and armed with a beef knife, threatened them and seized the suitcases. The robbers then fled the scene in another vehicle, a 7-seater. The robbery took only 30 seconds. Police said the suspects, 11 males and 4 females aged 20 to 69, had clear roles with a meticulous plan.
We are still investigating the background of the culprit and robbers. Some of them have triad background, but whether they involved in other robbery case, we are still investigating and trying to trace the stolen property.
He added that further arrests are not ruled out. Authorities have reminded the public to take extra care when moving large sums of cash and to consider enhanced security measures. As for the mainland suspect arrested on the day of the incident, police said that after investigation, he is believed to have little connection to the case and has been released on bail pending further inquiries. The Hong Kong section of the Hong Kong-Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park officially opened today, bringing the SAR's technology development to the next level. Chief Executive John Lee, along with Xu Qifang, Deputy Director of the Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office, Zhou Ji, Director of the Liaison Office, and Financial Secretary Paul Chan, attended the opening ceremony.
規模比原本嘅規劃大增7成。
Lee said the He Hong Kong Park, located in Lok Ma Chau Loop, with an area of over 87 hectares, is 70% bigger than planned, and it will be organized into zones for key industries like health tech, data science, and AI, helping companies of different industries work together. Officials said that currently 2 wet laboratory buildings have been completed in the area. More than 60 companies and institutions have signed agreements to move in, with 80% of the floor space already leased. Construction of the 5 remaining buildings will be completed from 2027, while the second phase of the park will provide 2 million square meters of floor area. Taipei police have released a further detailed timeline of the attackers' movements in the deadly stabbing spree on Friday, highlighting that the suspect assailant changed clothes multiple times and switched transport to evade pursuit. Evelyn Bai has more details.
At a press conference this afternoon, the Taipei City Police Department outlined suspect Sheung Wan's movements in the 3 hours before the attack. The 27-year-old meticulously planned the crime for at least 1.5 years and has been purchasing offensive or defensive properties such as gas masks, smoke bombs, gasoline cans, and methyl alcohol since April last year. He changed clothes 5 times and switched modes of transport, aiming to evade and delay police tracking. At about 3:40 p.m., wearing a beige jacket and riding a motorcycle, the suspect set fire to a residential property. He then took off the jacket, put on a black top and a black baseball cap, and rode off to carry out a second arson attack. At around 5 p.m., the man changed into a long raincoat and entered Taipei main station with a suitcase filled with smoke grenades and homemade petrol bombs. During the 4-minute attack, the suspect, who wore a tactical vest and a gas mask, threw 17 smoke grenades and 3 petrol bombs. Amid the chaos and smoke, he changed clothes again to escape at about 5:30 p.m., but left a pair of shoes at the scene. At around 6:30 p.m., the suspect threw smoke grenades on Nanjing West Road and attacked passers-by with a knife before jumping from a commercial building at 6:50 p.m. and was later confirmed dead. The incident ultimately left 4 people dead, including the attacker. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
Power continues to be restored to tens of thousands of San Francisco businesses and residences following a Saturday outage that affected some 130,000 customers. Full restoration is expected by Monday afternoon. The large-scale outage began on Saturday, causing widespread disruption. With traffic lights out, numerous driverless taxis came to a halt in the middle of roads with their hazard lights on, leading to significant traffic congestion. Public transport was also affected. Several Bay Area rapid transit stations were temporarily closed or delayed, forcing passengers to evacuate in darkness.
We decided to just throw on our shoes, hit the streets, maybe try to find a bite to eat. But yeah, this is crazy. We've never seen it like this before.
At its peak, around one-third of the utility company's customers, approximately 130,000 households and businesses, were without power. The supplier, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, believes the outage in some areas is linked to a fire at a substation. While the damage to the substation was significant and extensive, there were no reported injuries, but repairs and restoration would be highly complex. The cause of the substation fire remains under investigation. The U.S. Coast Guard is in active pursuit of another oil tanker in international waters near Venezuela after the sanctioned vessel ignored orders to stop for boarding. Quentin Yang reports.
Sunday's operation marks the second U.S. interception this weekend, after the Coast Guard seized another tanker, the Centuries, a day earlier, which was carrying 1.8 million barrels of Venezuelan crude to China. The latest ship under pursuit, identified as the Bella 1, is believed to be part of Venezuela's dark fleet, used to evade sanctions, according to U.S. officials. It was added to the U.S. Treasury Department sanctions list last year for its links to Iran. The vessel was found flying a false flag and en route to Venezuela to load oil when the Coast Guard personnel attempted to board, but it refused to halt and continued sailing, triggering the ongoing chase. U.S. authorities described the mission as legitimate, citing a federal judicial seizure order and noting international law permits boarding stateless vessels for rightful checks. The intensified operation followed earlier announcement by President Donald Trump to totally and completely blockade sanctioned tankers to and from Venezuela. U.S. military seized the first such vessels, the Skipper, on December 10th and kept all the Venezuelan crude aboard. Venezuela has condemned the act as piracy and vowed to file a complaint with the United Nations Security Council. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
Malaysian rapper Name Wee has been acquitted of a drug consumption charge by a Kuala Lumpur court due to his negative urine test after being caught up in the high-profile murder case of a Taiwanese influencer. Name Wee, whose real name is Wee Ming Chi, appeared at the Kuala Lumpur Magistrates Court this morning. As the prosecution presented a negative urine test, the court granted the acquittal and ordered his release. The 42-year-old was arrested on October 22nd, the day Taiwanese influencer Iris Xie was found dead in a hotel bathtub. He initially tested positive for several drugs and was allegedly found with suspected ecstasy, leading to charges of drug consumption and possession. He still faces a drug possession charge, which is set for mention next month. Meanwhile, Wee remains out on bail in connection with the ongoing police investigation into the influencer's death. Hong Kong's inflation rate last month was lower than market forecasts. The Consumer Price Index rose by 1.2% year-on-year in November, matching October's rate. With all government one-off relief measures excluded, the underlying inflation rate also held steady at 1%. A government spokesperson said inflationary pressures in November remained subdued. Cost pressures from both local and external sources are expected to stay broadly contained, with overall inflation forecast to remain modest in the near term. Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 111 points. Top active stocks of the day, Alibaba was up $1.10. Tencent was up 50 cents. Pop Mart was up $8.90. HSBC Holdings was up $2. Foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar, euro 9.13, Japanese yen 49.44. Onto the weather now. Mainly cloudy, 1 or 2 light rain patches tomorrow morning. Sunny intervals during the day. Temperatures will range between 19 and 22 degrees. Warm during the day on Wednesday. Winds will become northerly and the weather will become cool on Christmas Day. That's our news tonight. I'm Jeremy Chu. Thanks for watching and good night.